April 17, 2019 is a day that the Reyes family will forever remember. It is a day that a light went out in their lives, and a day that is shrouded in mystery. 26-year-old Prisma Reyes was last seen on CCTV footage in the parking garage of her ex's apartment complex. The CCTV cameras do not catch Prisma leaving, but when she failed to pick up her son from the babysitter, her family knew that something was terribly wrong. The third anniversary of Prisma's disappearance is quickly approaching, and we are still no closer to finding out what happened on that fateful day. This is the disappearance of Prisma Reyes. 26-year-old Prisma Reyes was a devoted mother to her son Dominic and had a bright and promising future ahead of her. Prisma Reyes was born in Veracruz, Mexico, and moved to Dallas, Texas with her family when she was young. Incredibly, Prisma became fluent in English in a single summer and wowed everyone around her with her incredible linguistic skills. It was clear that Prisma was going to go far, and after doing well, she earned herself a scholarship to a maths and science magnet school. Prisma excelled, and after she graduated, she was full of hope and wonder. She quickly joined the National Guard and also found work as a paralegal. By all accounts, Prisma was a hardworking, loving mother to her son Dominic, who her family says was her world. Her stepfather, Dan Futch, who was incredibly close to Prisma, told People.com, "Every time I talked to her, she was always running around for different lawyers that she worked for, running to the courthouse, doing this, doing that, and all kinds of stuff. She's always striving to better her life for my grandson." The details in Prisma's case are confusing and complex, and we should start at the beginning. We know that on April 17, 2019, Prisma left her job at a car dealership to go on her lunch break and headed to the E-Bar Tex-Mex restaurant on North Haskell Avenue in Dallas, Texas. Prisma wasn't alone, and she had her lunch with her ex-boyfriend. Although it appears a reason for the two having lunch together has not been disclosed. Her ex-boyfriend, who has not been named publicly, left the restaurant, but Prisma decided to stay and continue drinking. It appears that during this time alone, Prisma got into an argument with one of the restaurant staff. Although some sources imply that the argument was between her and her ex-boyfriend. NBC DFW and NBC News both report that the man left, but police said Prisma stayed at the restaurant and continued drinking until police said she was asked to leave. Lieutenant Briggs added to this by telling NBC News in 2019 there was some sort of verbal disturbance and she was asked to leave the premises. No information as to whether Prisma was drunk has ever been disclosed. After leaving the restaurant, Prisma was then involved in what has been described as a road rage incident and left the scene before police arrived. The Mesquite police have since said that this incident is not likely tied to her disappearance, but it is certainly an odd clue given the circumstances of what happens next. The next confirmed sighting of Prisma is made at the Rose Apartments on Rose Avenue, in the parking garage that is attached to the apartments. Prisma's ex-boyfriend lived in these apartments, and the two had lunch earlier that day, but it appears that the connection ends here. Her ex-boyfriend was thoroughly questioned following her mysterious disappearance, and it was revealed that he wasn't even home when Prisma entered the garage. Perhaps Prisma was seeking refuge in a place that she was familiar with, or she just wanted a private place to calm down after the restaurant incident and the road rage, and she knew that she would be able to access the garage. Who knows? Again, it was never made clear as to whether Prisma was under the influence that day. Whilst Prisma was in the parking garage, she was captured on CCTV footage, and the footage from that day is rather worrying. According to reports, between 5:49 p.m. and 6:01 p.m., Prisma made 9 short phone calls to various people, mostly to her boyfriend and then a friend. This friend was of course questioned by the police, and the conversation between the two only intensified the worry that the police and Prisma's family had for her safety. According to the Charlie Project, Prisma begged her friend for help, crying down the phone and telling her between tears and breaths that something wasn't right and that she was confused. Unfortunately, the friend wasn't in Texas at this time and wasn't able to help Prisma. We know that 5 of the calls were made to her then boyfriend, and 1 was made to this friend. So who were the other 3 made to? Why was Prisma crying and disoriented? Had the earlier incidents shocked her? Or was there something much darker going on? Things only got weirder as Prisma entered the lift in the parking garage and was joined by another resident who noticed that she was crying and very upset. The CCTV footage also shows Prisma pacing back and forth before getting into the lift, almost if she was waiting for someone or is very stressed out. Whilst this was happening, Prisma's family were under the impression that Prisma was at work and would be picking up her son from the babysitter at around 7:30 p.m. as per their arrangement. Unfortunately, this never happened, and when 7:30 rolled around and quickly turned into 8 p.m., the babysitter knew that something was wrong. Prisma was a devoted and very responsible mother, and if she was going to be late picking up Dominic, she would have informed the babysitter right away. The babysitter waited and waited and waited until around 9:30 p.m. when they decided to call the police and report Prisma missing. Prisma's family were also contacted, and upon hearing that she failed to collect Dominic, they agreed with the babysitter's sentiment that something was off. The search for Prisma began with officers of the Mesquite Police Department and the Dallas Police Department scouring the area, looking for any sign. They spoke to her employer, friends, family, and her ex-boyfriend, and created a timeline of events. Then, they discovered the CCTV footage and noticed that Prisma was never captured leaving the parking garage, although the Mesquite Police Department pointed out that not all of the possible exits were covered by cameras. Still, they focused their efforts on the inside of the garage, thinking that she had perhaps been met with foul play, or had been injured or was in distress. Despite an extensive search of the garage and the surrounding areas, Prisma was not located. What the Mesquite Police Department did manage to find was Prisma's 2017 white Jeep Wrangler in the parking garage where she had last been seen. It has not been reported as such, but we can assume that Prisma's car was taken as evidence and forensically examined. No results of any forensic examination appear to have been made public, and in the months after her disappearance, the Mesquite Police Department told NBC News, "There is nothing that indicates foul play at this time, but we are concerned that no one has heard from Prisma in months." Her stepfather Dan, who has been in Prisma's life since she was 5 years old and shares a special bond with her, has been at the forefront of the investigation to find her. He told Dateline, "I believe that she is still with us, and I'll believe that well until I can be proven otherwise. But I'm really afraid something bad happened to her, and that someone out there is responsible. I know the police are doing what they can, but we're just frustrated. We just want her back." He also told People.com, "Ever since I started trying to find her, and everything else, it's never been about finding her for me, for her mother, or for her brothers or sisters or nobody else, strictly for Dominic. Someday, it'll all come out." Prisma Denise Peralta Reyes was last seen in the parking garage of the Ross apartment building located in the 3500 block of Roseland Avenue in Dallas, Texas. She made several phone calls and appeared to have been very distressed or disoriented. She has not made contact with her friends and family, and they are desperately searching for answers. Prisma is described as a Hispanic female with brown hair, brown eyes, standing at 5 foot 2 inches tall and weighing 135 pounds, with pierced ears. Prisma also has a tattoo on the back of her shoulder. Prisma is also known to wear glasses and was last seen wearing a red short-sleeved polo shirt with black stripes on the shoulder and sleeves, light blue denim capri pants, black trainers with white soles, and carrying a large black handbag. Anyone with information is urged to contact police investigator Dustin Barrett of the Mesquite Police Department at 972-285-6336, quoting case number 190-38244. That is it for this one. Thank you so much for listening. If you haven't already, please like, share, and subscribe. This will help my channel grow. If you have a future story suggestion or would like to contact me directly, you can do so by emailing me at creepyunsolvedmedia@gmail.com. Looking for more content? Be sure to visit creepyunsolved.com, where you'll find podcast episodes, YouTube videos, and the Creepy Unsolved blog. Until next time, this is Dylan signing off. I look forward to your comments below.